keys are to the glory days at the stick. From who's got it better than us to brick by brick. It's always the 49ers way, from off-season to game day. Yeah, we talk back. It's the 49ers cutback.
Why are we here right now? Why are we doing this, DCC? How is this happening? Why is it happening? How come this is a thing? Oh, my soul just hurts. Cutback crew. It just hurts right now. This is depressing. This is absolutely depressing. First and foremost, anyone that's here, hit the like button right now. Calm my aching soul with a like of the video. And then second off, it's sad. This is hard. You don't want this type of thing going on in San Francisco, but look, we're here to talk about what this means. Right? Does this actually mean anything? Is this just stringent contract negotiations? Is there more to this than meets the eye? And of course, obviously, before we can do any of that, we have to do a couple other things. But the first thing I gotta do is figure out what the heck is going on with my chat functionality here, because for whatever reason, DCC, it's not picking up the things that I wanted to pick up. There we go. There we go. All right, I got chat back now. All right, we all right now. We all right now. We got it up and running. We're good to go. We're gonna be fine. Excuses this early, says Bayback. It's okay though, right? Because Kyle is a genius and the 49ers team is a family. So let's talk about what's actually going on before we jump to conclusions, before everyone starts hitting the panic button. Where there's smoke, there's fire. So you have to admit that something is going on. So the reports from Schefter about Deebo had held up contract negotiations, it looks like there may be some actual legs to that now. Right, with Deebo actually coming out now and telling someone over at ESPN, and I forget the gentleman's name, and TCC, maybe you can bring it up for me. So I can know here. I'm gonna actually try and pull it up here on my phone as well, so I have it accessible right here in front of me. Let's see here. So it was someone from ESPN, if I'm not mistaken. The name at the moment is escaping me, and of course the first article I pull up doesn't actually give me the gentleman's name from ESPN who had put the rumor out, or put the conversation out, saying that he had talked with Deebo Samuel, and this is something Deebo Samuel has wanted. Ian Rappaport has reported it, but the first person who broke it was a gentleman at ESPN, and of course, nobody wants to credit said individual from ESPN that said he spoke with Deebo Samuel, and Deebo told him that he did not. Oh, here it is. Jeff Darlington from ESPN. Jeff Darlington from ESPN said he spoke with Deebo Samuel, and he has told me that he has asked the 49ers to trade him. He did not want to discuss specific reasons behind this request, but he has indeed let the 49ers know his desire to leave. That was a little less than an hour ago that was reported and put out there. That's from Jeff Darlington at ESPN. That is what he said. We had Adam Schefter yesterday talking about how Deebo Samuel is the one who had cut off contract talks with the San Francisco 49ers. The Niners were willing to pay him immediately. They will pay him whatever he wanted right now. That Deebo is the one that put a halt on it. Now, if Deebo is putting a halt on it, then the Niners definitely weren't going to pay Deebo whatever he wanted. There's a number in mind that they're going to pay him. That's the question now. So I'm seeing a lot of guys. Do the Niners really need him when they have guys like Brandon Ayuk and George Kittle, Ricardo? There's no one that does the things that Deebo Samuel is doing. Eric just let me know in the chat too that it was Jeff Darlington. Seeing David Campbell trade Deebo to Philly for pick 15 and 16 this year. I'm seeing a lot of people saying a lot of different things. It's stop the BS. It's bad, and Deebo will never play for us again. Give me at least the benefit of the doubt and get a first rounder. Kyle and John, do that if you're going to S the bed. Dumb and Dumber. Look, Baymac. Does this look good right now? No. Does it look like Deebo wants out? Yes. But there are other extenuating factors and circumstances going on here that we don't know about. First and foremost, Deebo has said that he wants to get paid top dollar. Right? He wants to get paid more than any other quarterback, more than any other non-quarterback in the league. That's what he said he wanted. And then a few days later, came out and said $25 million is the number. No part of me believes that the Niners aren't going to get up to that $25 million a number. I think now what's going on is you have guarantees in the contract that Deebo is wanting that he's maybe not necessarily getting, or he wants assurances from Kyle and John in terms of what his role is going to be going forward. Now, I did see someone in chat say something very, very intriguing and very, very, very interesting that I was actually thinking before we went on. Here it is. David M. NFL Network is reporting he wasn't comfortable with his usage last year as both a wide receiver and a running back, taking any amount of hits that he did. That's what David M. is saying. I think this is very specific on Deebo Samuel's part. If he is going to be utilized in both roles, then he wants to get paid money that no one else in the league is going to get paid. Right? Because his skill set is that of a wide receiver, but utilizing him as a running back potentially lowers the amount of years that he can be a viable option in the league. Right? He's going to be taking a beating, carrying the rock out of the backfield. Running back lifespans in the NFL are short. They're not long. Very rarely do you see a guy who's top of his game in the league for 10 plus years. Receivers, more likely that you're going to be a guy who can play at a high level in the league for 10 plus years. Right? So Deebo is probably sitting here going, hey, if you're going to use me in both roles, number one, you're going to need to pay me more now, like right now, because I can be this guy for the next 4 years. But there's no guarantee I can be that guy long term, right? That's what is looking like may be going on. I think that's something that needs to be considered. Deebo saying that he wants a trade. I mean, there are plenty of guys who ask for trades and then don't get traded, right? And end up working things out and don't end up leaving. Jay Hill said, I tweeted that role issue right after I gave the update on the request. There you go. I mean, you and I are on the same page. Jay Hill looks like someone at NFL Network is on the same page as us. And this is something we've been saying, and this has been a concern of the chat for weeks now, months. The TCC, I mean, you guys have been all over this, right? The role can't continue the way that it's continued. And Deebo Samuel, like, be healthy and a viable option for a long, long time. You're not wrong there. Like, nothing about that is wrong. But Ant and I have specifically stated on this show numerous times that there's no part of us that believes this is going to be his long-term role. This is something you do when you need to do it, right? Playoffs, big games, big moments. Like, ideally, you want to get those touches down to about 5 a game out of the backfield. 5. And ideally, you'd prefer not to do it early in the season. Towards the end of the season and leading into the playoffs is when you want to be getting him most of those touches out of the backfield. But without that role, he is not an all-pro and doesn't get paid big money. Ben V, that's where you're wrong. Last season, he showed it, right? He had almost 1,000 yards receiving halfway through the year. If he doesn't end up reverting into a running back role last year, he probably has like 1,700 receiving yards, 1,800 receiving. I mean, he puts together a stupid season. He was on pace for a crazy amount of yards. He was less than 100 yards behind Cooper Kupp at one point, halfway through the year, on one less game than Cooper Kupp. Because the Niners had a bye week 6, and the Rams did not. He was in that role out of necessity more than anything else last year. That is correct. We talked about that on Face Off after the Rams Monday night game as well. We did, Jason. We did. After that game, we literally sat there and said, Deebo's playing like the best wide receiver in the league right now, which was crazy. And he's going to get paid big money. And then the role reverted and it changed. And then he showed how dynamic he was. Right? So, I mean, here's the thing. I think this is the linchpin, the sticking point for Deebo Samuel. $25 million is the number if I'm going to be a wide receiver. If you're going to have me doing both roles, then it's got to be more than that. You got to pay me more. And I think that's where maybe contract negotiations are stalling at the moment. He wants a little bit more. He wants more guaranteed if he's going to be in both roles, but he's fine with taking $25 million if I'm just going to be a wide receiver. And maybe the Niners aren't there with him on that. They're not sitting at that point right now. I'm seeing a lot of people. Joseph Weiber just said, pay Deebo and let's move on from this sideshow. He fits perfectly with our team offense. He's the biggest role in our offensive plays. So how could we blame him for wanting to get paid? You can't blame Deebo for wanting to get paid, Joseph. Not at all. And nobody on this podcast is ever going to be blaming Deebo Samuel for wanting to get paid. I also saw there was a report last night that the Niners apparently offered him a four-year, $100 million contract, which would be $25 million a year. The question is, how much of that money is guaranteed? Because if it's 4 years, $100 million, and it's $75 million guaranteed, then you've got about $25 million that's not guaranteed, which is going to bring his cap number down from $25 million, right? It's not going to be $25 million guaranteed. It's going to be somewhere probably closer to about 20, maybe $19.5, $18.5 million. That's guaranteed per season for him. And I said this, we thought that $75 million number was a about what would be guaranteed for Deebo Samuel. Like 75 million guaranteed sounded like a good number. Him and I thought maybe 5 years at 75 million guaranteed with a lot of incentives. Deebo may be sitting there right now wanting full guaranteed money. Full guaranteed money. 25 million fully guaranteed, though, Robert just asked. I think that's the issue right now. I think Deebo wants 25 million per season guaranteed on average is what he wants the average to work out to. I don't think he wants it to be any less than that. And I don't know if the Niners are willing to give that. If the reports are true, 4 years, 100 million was offered to him and he turned it down. That's the 25 million number that you're looking for, but we don't know what the guaranteed number is. Where there's smoke, there's fire. Deebo definitely asked for a trade. But does that mean what we all think it means, right? That he's done with San Francisco? I mean, Bayback thinks, right? That's it. He ain't ever playing for the 49ers again. I don't know if I'm willing to go there yet. Do I think he's playing chicken with San Francisco right now, though? 100%. 100% playing chicken with San Francisco. And can you blame him? If you're going to use someone in the role that you use Deebo Samuel in, do you blame him for him sitting there going, I carried the football team last year? You're not going to find someone else like me. You can't draft anyone that's like me. You can't trade for anyone that's like me, San Francisco. Pay me or move off of me and figure out how you're going to build your offensive identity without me. Right? Like, he ain't wrong, and he has leverage. The Niners have to try and find the balance. That's what they have to do. They have to try and find the balance. And as of right now, it doesn't feel like they're anywhere close to figuring it out, which is why Deebo's frustrated and why he's saying it. Treylon Burke would be an ideal replacement. He's used in the same ways. Eric, wrong. Completely wrong. Treylon Burke is not utilized in the same ways as a Deebo Samuel. You can't move Treylon Burke into the backfield. He doesn't have the same type of vision. He doesn't have the same kind of shiftiness. Treylon Burke, I see him more as a straight line runner than anything else. I don't see the same type of vision that I see out of Deebo Samuel. I see a guy who tries to get to the outside a lot on his screens. So he gets up inside of a couple of blocks and then immediately tries to get to the outside. And he doesn't have the type of speed at the NFL level to get to the outside and take away angles. Deebo is not the type of guy that will just try and get to the outside. Deebo Samuel has vision, the capability to look, see, knife in and out. I mean, the run against the Cowboys, there are not many running backs in the NFL who can do what he did in that run against the Cowboys in the playoffs, in the wild card round. There's not many running backs in the league who can do that. Treylon Burks can't do that. You can't draft Treylon Burks and then insert him into the Deebo Samuel and get the same level of production. It's not even going to be close. It won't be close. There's nobody in the league who can do what he does. Cordell Patterson can't do this. No one can do these types of things. It's just not possible. Probably knows what other teams are willing to pay these agents, always talking to other teams. It's possible, Robert. Well, here's the thing, right? For Deebo, he wants to get paid top dollar. You can't fault him for that. He knows teams like the Jets would do that. Right? They would pay him top dollar. Now, he's not going to be on a good football team if he goes there, but he knows that a team could pay him top dollar, and he knows the Niners don't want to be able to move off of him. He knows San Francisco doesn't want this. They don't want to have to move off of him. So he knows they're caught between a rock and a hard place. Somehow Deebo is gone and Jimmy is still here. LMAO says Rome. Look, I don't think that's going to be happening. It is depressing. However, trade him to the Jets, draft Treylon Burke, and we'll probably get even more picks, says John Paul. I mean, I'm not there with you guys. I can't go there. Call the Jets for picks for 3 or 4 picks. You could. I don't know if they would give up that many picks, but you could. He's playing chicken with the Niners. No leverage, though. If I was the Niners, I wouldn't blink. David, he's got some leverage. He's got some. He does have some leverage. No one in the league can do what he does. Nobody. And Hefe KC, come on to KC Deebo. You ain't getting Deebo Samuel. Pick 29 and 30 is not getting Deebo Samuel to San Francisco. Also, you guys couldn't pay Tyreek Hill $25 million. What makes you think you're paying Deebo Samuel $25 million? Have fun with that, my guy. Have fun with that. You guys paid Patrick Mahomes $500 million, $500 million. That's your team. That's your team for the next 15 years. So I mean, that's what you're doing. If Deebo really about to leave before Jimmy, says El Golden Boy, I don't think that's the case. I think you have a situation right now where Deebo Samuel understands that if he is going to play the continual role that he has played in San Francisco as a wide back option, consistently, that's his role, that it limits his upside as a wide receiver who's making a lot of money. It puts him in a position where he's going to be playing running backs who don't typically make as much money and their careers are much shorter. And he's basically putting San Francisco in a position where they have to either commit one way or the other, right? Either commit to paying me right now if you're going to continue using me in this role, or commit to lessening my role as a running back, commit to transferring me back to a wide receiver role where I'm doing that for a majority of my snaps, and you're not asking me to take the beating and the pounding of the running back position, and I'll take less money. Because if I take less money and I'm a receiver, I know the longevity of my career is going to be able to be sustained long term. But if you're going to keep putting me in the backfield, you're going to do what you did with me at the end of the season last year and use me as a running back for 7-8 games where I'm the best running back on the football field. I got to get paid now. I don't know how long I'm going to be able to do that for. I don't know how many teams are going to be willing to pay me top dollar to be that guy. The Jets offered 4 picks to Casey for cousin Tyreek, so the Jets can easily offer us 4. It must include pick 9, though. I don't disagree with you there. It'd have to include pick 9. There is another Deebo people draft or in the league now. Stop it. I do agree with you on that, Joseph. Dalvin Cook's brother is underused at the college level. He is, but he doesn't do the things Deebo does. He's a running back. He's not going to be a wide back. It's not going to do the same thing. How about we just get an elite running back and stop using Deebo as the running back? Get Hall or Walker. Look, there's tons of things the Niners could do to address this. But I think you have a situation right now where if you're Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch, right, the conversations you're having with Deebo Samuel are about his role in the offense, right? There's going to be times where you're going to want to utilize his skill set in the backfield and out of the backfield. There's going to be times when you want to do that. I don't know if you want to sit there and promise Deebo that he's only going to touch the ball 5 times a game out of the backfield, or, only be used in the running back room sparingly. Why would you handicap yourself as an offense? You have a guy who's an elite wide receiver, who's shown he's one of the top 10 wide receivers in football. Okay, who run after the catch ability is one of the best in all of football, who also runs extremely well in the backfield and might be a top 5 running back in the NFL. Why would you handicap yourself? Doesn't make any sense to do that. Like, that's silly. Don't do that. There's a way around it. The question is does Deebo want to have that conversation? As of right now, if what Schefter reported is true, and it seems like it might be, that he's halted conversations with San Francisco, then for him, there's nothing else to discuss, right? You want to use me in that way, that's fine. You better pay me more than anybody else to do that. Otherwise, trade me. Get rid of me. I ain't doing it. I ain't doing it for $25 million. I'll do it for 30. I'll do it for 32. I don't know if the Niners are willing to go that high. $25 million kind of seems like the number. And if the 4-year, $100 million report is true, then $25 million is about the number. Deebo is either going to come down to that and agree with San Francisco, or they'll find a middle ground between it, or he's going to be stubborn about it. This sucks. It sucks, dude. It absolutely sucks. Philip, Deebo will be a 49er this year. He either deals or plays for $4 million. Philip, he might decide not to play. All right, he could absolutely decide he ain't playing this year. He could sit out. I mean, I know Anton has brought this up and mentioned it. I know the TCC has talked about it too. We've talked about it on this show plenty of times, right? That he's not making a whole lot of money this year, so every time he sits out, it starts eating away at that check, and he's going to get to a point in time where he's going to miss a certain amount of games, and there's just going to be no money for him this year. But he could decide that's what he's going to do, right? He could pull a Le'Veon Bell and just sit out the whole year. And just be like, whatever. Catch y'all later. I'll just become a free agent next year, which is not the end of the world for San Francisco because you can get a first-round pick if he leaves. But I'm just saying, the Niners, if they don't want to trade him, they don't have to. But that also means that Deebo doesn't have to play in the role that the Niners are going to use him. And I'm seeing Nick right now. This is BS. This is BS, man. Well, I mean, this is what happens, right? This is what happens when guys have the type of year that Deebo Samuel has. And let's not forget, Deebo Samuel just did something that nobody else in the league has ever done. We haven't seen this for a long time. At the wide receiver position, do what he just did. When you have stuff like that happen, These are the problems that start plaguing your franchise. When guys are successful in your system, they want top dollar. They want to be compensated for what they've accomplished and what they believe they can continue to accomplish. And the Niners believe that Deebo can continue to accomplish this. Don't get this twisted. San Francisco doesn't not want to pay Deebo Samuel. They want to pay Deebo Samuel. But they want to pay Deebo Samuel at the number that makes sense, not only for them and for him, but for the future of this team as well. The two sides just don't agree on what that number is. The Niners want to pay it, though. Don't get it twisted, TCC. The Niners want to pay Deebo Samuel. You'd be crazy to not want to pay Deebo Samuel. You really would. Oh, let's see here. Give Deebo a suitcase full of money under the table to play this season. Off the books, eh? Off the books, 420 Savage. He just wants to go to a team in a state with no taxes. Heck, any state has a better tax rate. David Campbell, that also might not be wrong. Right? A 4-year, $100 million contract for Deebo Samuel here is not the same as a 4-year, $100 million contract in other places in the United States. It's a lot less money in San Francisco than other places. You ain't wrong there. What would you expect a return package for him if we do trade him? It has to be at least 4 picks. And ideally 2 firsts. 2 firsts, a second, and a third, or 2 firsts and 2 seconds. Or 3 firsts and a third. Like, that's what it is. That's what it is. And here's the thing. I don't know if there's going to be a team that wants to do that. As much as I think like the someone like the Jets would do it, can they utilize him the same way San Francisco has? I don't know if they can. I'm not sure about that. And here's the thing too. The fact that he didn't go into specifics as to why he's demanding said trade may just mean that he really doesn't want out. He's just saying he wants out. And he's not airing dirty laundry because he's not really frustrated with San Francisco in terms of like them not doing something. He's just frustrated about how conversations have gone. So he's trying to show them that, hey, like, I want to be able to talk about this way. If you guys don't want to talk about it this way, then you might as well just trade me. Right? I want to have this conversation about my role and that affecting and influencing my pay. And then there's maybe like, we're going to use you how we want to use you. We just want to pay you. Shouldn't matter how we want to use you. You're one of the best players in the league. We want to pay you that way. And Deebo probably wants to have the conversation a different direction. No. You're going to pay me. But if you're going to use me this way, then this number that we talked about makes sense. But if you're going to use me this other way, this wide back way, this 25 million number doesn't make sense anymore. So there is definitely that aspect to it as well. I would give 35-36 for Deebo to come to the Jets. I think that's fair, right? No, Matthew, absolutely not. No way. Not even a little bit. Jimmo saying, LOL, sure, tell yourself that. I mean, I'll continue telling myself whatever I need to tell myself. Do I think Deebo Samuel is going to get traded? No, I don't think that. People ask for things all the time and don't get them. What this comes down to is San Francisco now needs to reevaluate how they've looked at the situation, right? How they've talked and discussed this. And we don't know what conversations they've had. All we know is that Deebo is frustrated. We know that Deebo's halted negotiations and contract talks. And we know that he is, asked for money equivalent to players that aren't quarterback in the league, if not more so, or $25 million, depending on when you've come into this Deebo Samuel saga, right? Who knows? Who knows? Let's see. The death threats and racial attacks don't help, I'm sure. Forktail. Those people are dumb who are doing that, number one. They're moronic is the nicest way that I can put it. But every fan base has that, man. Every fan base has idiots. Every fan base has dumb faces who say dumb things or are edgy, right? I'm gonna make a death threat to Deebo Samuel because I'm edgy and dark. Like those people exist in every walk of life, in every job, career, like people are just that way. There's some people who just want to watch the world burn. You'll find that in every fan base. If anything, all it's done, right? The death threats and the people making stupid comments to him and using racial slurs and all this other stupid stuff that these kind of people are doing, these dumb poopy butthole faces are saying. I'm trying to not get demonetized by swearing. I apologize. All those people have really done is probably emboldened him and bolstered him to hold his ground, which is what it should do, right? If people are criticizing you for wanting to get compensated for being good at your job, like if those people are out there like putting you down for that, like that's not going to make me go, oh, I'm being selfish. That's going to make me like, oh, you don't like that? I guess you're really not going to like it when I get compensated like way more than you think I deserve. Because it's not gonna make me want to back off of my point, right? It's not gonna make me back off of what I want, where I want to be, or what I want to do. It's just going to make me like put my feet in the ground and just say, hey, look, I'm this dude. All these people saying dumb stuff, these edge meme lords out there saying nonsense in my DMs. They hate me because they hate me. And they're gonna really hate me once I get paid $25 million a year. Like that's all that would do for me. Deebo's thick skinned, man. Deebo ain't no softy. That kind of stuff isn't gonna scare Deebo away because he understands too that this is a fringe minority of people that are saying stuff like that. And he has to know that no matter where he goes, that fringe minority is gonna exist. You live in a free society. People have the ability to say and do what they want. A good chunk of people are good human beings who are considerate of other people and understand, what goes into being an athlete and how much money you can make and all that. And then there's a fringe minority who would just say stupid stuff because they can, right? They get some sort of like thrill out of it. Good for them. Good for them. As I said on a previous, I think it was on the Cutback chat we had this conversation as well. Anyone that's feeling that way or doing stuff like that, right? The best medicine for people like that is to put them out there, right? Put their ideas out there into the ether. Put the things that they think out there for the world. Because now they got to defend them. Have fun with that. Majority of the world don't think the way that you think in that regard. So have fun trying to defend that idea because it ain't going to go over well. You're going to get raked underneath the coals, which is what you deserve. You get thrown underneath the bus, which is probably what you deserve, metaphorically speaking. I'm not actually asking for violence against any specific type of person. I'm talking about metaphorically in the arena of ideas and conversation. You're gonna get destroyed, and you should get destroyed. I'm all for putting that stuff out there for people to talk about and discuss ideas more than just letting people hide behind nonsense and fake Twitter bios. Because that's what those people are doing. They're hiding behind fake accounts. They're not putting their real name with some racist nonsense out there. They're hiding behind a fake, egg profile picture and saying stupid stuff in DMs. Because that's all they can do. That's all they can do. Let's see what else people are saying. I think he wants $30 million, the same as Tyreek. Do you think the Niners would pay that? Here's the thing, Renee. I think he wants $30 million if he's going to be a wide back. Right? He wants to get paid closer to what Tyreek Hill's getting paid because nobody else can do it. But if they're going to utilize him mostly as a receiver, I think he's willing to take 25. I think he's willing to take 25. I think he's willing to take less. Deebo has no power. He will be a restricted free agent next season. Tommy, you're not wrong there. He doesn't have any power. He could just sit out, though. He could just sit out. He could just decide he's not doing it. It's not smart. Because he's going to make no money. In fact, he's probably going to lose some money if he does that. But Deebo has to. His agent's got to be talking to him about a lot of different ways for them to handle this. He's just trying to apply pressure. He's trying to apply pressure. That's all he's doing. Applying pressure right now to San Francisco because this is right now where he has some leverage, Tommy. Some. I'm not sitting there saying he has all the leverage in the world, but he does have some. He isn't wrong in his thought process that there's no one who can do what he does, and there's no amount of draft capital or picks that can fix what he does or can do what he does for another team. Just not going to happen. Deebo hasn't consistently shown he's worth Tyreek Hill type money. He's had one good season. Who knows what he's going to look like next year? I say make him play out his contract if he does sign him. Look, here's the thing. He's been fairly healthy. He missed last season was the outlier. 2020 was. And 2020 was an outlier for a lot of people. A lot of people. It was an outlier for. Right? A lot of people got injured in the NFL in 2020 during a COVID season. 2019, he was fine. He had a great rookie campaign in 2019. And as the season progressed, his role expanded more and more and more. Right? So I'm not on this boat that Deebo's only done it 1 year. He's consistently been one of the top run after catch guys in the league. But the year he just had, right, is the only year we've seen anything like this out of him in terms of the level of production. We've seen good production out of him. Last season wasn't good production. It was great production. It was incredible production. It was production unlike anything else we've ever seen in the league type production. So yes, he has leverage. Is it as much leverage as he thinks? Obviously not. That's why he's halted conversations, right? That's why he's upset. He thought it was more leverage, and it's just truly not. The salary cap better be 300 plus million within 2 years. With the explosion of money now and more positions on the field, I would trade Trent Williams before Deebo, said 420 Savage. Boy, oh boy, is that a hot take. And Jason Hill, Jay Hill, give it to you. 420 Savage, bro, I know this is your big day, but dang, you be hitting the ball already hard to take clearly. Jay Hill. Oh, I see why people burn jersey now. This feels like a bad relationship breakup. Anyone who's burning a jersey, by the way, too silly. You've already paid money for it. You're not actually sending the message that you think you're sending. You're just being wasteful. There's some kid out there who would love to have that jersey. It's better for you to just donate it to somebody. Donate it to some kid who's never had a jersey before in his entire life. Let him wear it. Let them enjoy it. If you don't enjoy it anymore, burning it doesn't really solve anything. But hey, freedom of expression, right? You want to burn a jersey because you're upset with someone for not taking 25 million and wanting 30 million, then you do you. I'm not going to do that, though. Personally, not going to do that. Dang, Trey going to look so bad without Deebo, the god of yak. I don't know about that, Patrick. I don't know about that. And we don't know if he's leaving. We don't know what's going on. Well, all we know is that he's halted contract negotiations with the Niners and that he's demanded a trade. Or asked for a trade. I don't know if demanded is the right word. Asked for a trade. Asked for a trade is fair. Because he has asked for a trade. I think he saw our own line. Our line looks and said, deuces. I don't know about that. I don't know. I would release Jimmy before I trade Deebo for 10 picks, David Hasselhoff. I don't think there's any part of the night. Look, so the reports are too, apparently, that he asked for a trade a week ago. He asked for a trade a week ago and the Niners haven't budged. The draft is next week, folks. The draft is next week. If the Niners don't trade him before the draft, they ain't trading him. Like, it's just not happening. It's not going to happen. If this doesn't get done before day one of the NFL draft, this is not happening. He's not going anywhere. It won't. You're 100% right about the stupidity of burning jerseys. Well, I mean, I'm right in terms of, like, I think I'm right. But people who are burning jerseys are people who get, this attached to, I mean, fans are fanatics for a reason, right? They're very passionate about their team. They're passionate about things, but sometimes, you go above and beyond that. You go above and beyond what is necessary or what is called for, right? And this is where Ant and I, and this channel is a little bit different than, like other channels or other fans or people who get frustrated with players. It's like, you look at the scheme, you look at what Deebo Samuel is as a player, you look what he just accomplished, and you try and understand the negotiating point that he's coming from, which is I have done something that you haven't seen in the NFL. You want to continue using me in this role. And the role you're using me in is going to shorten potentially my career if I continue playing it at the level that I'm playing. So if you're going to do that, you got to pay me more than anyone else. Because my window to earn significant money in this league is going to be shortened because of this role. That's the way he's looking at it. Now, that's a potential, right? It's possible that's the case. Now, Deebo Samuel could be the outlier, right? That he could be the freak scenario in which he's able to stay healthy for the entirety of playing in this role. And if you're the Niners, you end up overpaying for a guy like this, and he ends up being that dude for 10 years. And it's like, shoot, we paid him so much money early, and now we have to pay him long term. Like, there's a risk there. But Deebo don't care about what possibilities may exist, right? If you're going to use me in this role that could shorten my career, then I need to get paid now at this moment. Because if you don't do it now, then I may never get it. I never get money like this never get another. I may never get a chance to make money like this again. Whew. Whole situation has gotten out of hand, says Ernest. Well, I don't think the offseason has gone the way the 49ers hoped it would. I can tell you that right now, Ernest. I can tell you that. But I will stay steadfast. I know Ant would stay steadfast as well in where we are with Deebo, which is we always thought he was going to get his contract closer to training camp. Deebo's going to get paid. It's going to be closer to training camp. We're not close to training camp yet. Closer than it was. That's how time works, right? When the season ended to now, it's definitely closer than it was, but it's still a ways out. So, patience, maybe? Maybe patience? I don't know. I'm not a Niner fan, but why does he want to get traded, says Dwayne Hunter. I think the reason he wants to get traded, Dwayne, is I think he wants money comparable to the best players in the league who aren't quarterback. If he's going to be playing a role that there's no market for, right? So I think he came out and said he wanted to get paid more than any non-quarterback in the league, which would mean over $30 million. Then he came out and said $25 million. $25 million, or we ain't discussing, like we ain't talking. There are reports that the Niners offered him 4 years, $100 million. So if he's halted contract negotiations, he's demanded for a trade, and the Niners have offered him $25 million a year, which was the number that he wanted or put out there that he wanted. Why would he want to trade? Well, it's because of the role. It's because of what he's been asked and what he's maybe being asked to do in San Francisco. All right, the dynamics of the role in which he plays, the fact that no one else can do it, the fact that you can't go replace what Deebo does in the draft this year, next year, potentially any year ever. I mean, 49ers fans, TCC, anyone who's in chat, even if you're not a 49er fan, if Jalen Hurd was healthy and playing the last few years, this isn't happening right now. This isn't happening. It's not happening. Because Deebo would have had another person at his position sharing that burden with him, and that number would be down. And that $20 to $25 million number range would be where it is for Deebo. But you take a chance on a guy, you draft a guy who has not the same level of skill set as Deebo Samuel, but could do similar things. Jalen Hurd was a running back initially in college, transitioned into wide receiver, had vision and things like that Deebo has. Could have been a guy that shared some of that role with Deebo Samuel and taken the load off of his shoulders. If a guy like that was healthy, we're not in this position right now. And that was two guys in the same draft, one right after each other. One panned out, one couldn't stay healthy. And how things have changed because of it. Having two guys who could have potentially shared that role and shared that burden and taken the load off of each other's back, and not having one of them having the amount of injuries you just had at the running back room this past season, and Deebo shouldering that entire load is why we're in the position that we're in now. So I guess if you want to blame anyone, blame Jalen Hurd. I'm just kidding. Don't blame Jalen Hurd. It's not Jalen Hurd's fault that his body has betrayed him. That's his body's fault. Also, inevitable when you're playing a sport like the NFL and football. I feel bad for Jalen. I feel bad for what Deebo is going through now. This is probably just as much frustrating for him as it is for the 49ers. Don't forget that. There's the human aspect and element to this that's got to be difficult. And, you know, poopy butthole people out there saying poopy butthole things just adds to the stress level for Deebo. So dumb saying dumb things just makes this harder. And who knows? There's a chance right now that the reason why Deebo has halted contract conversations right now is maybe it's just too much at the moment. He's not getting what he wants out of San Francisco, and that's partially because he had the draft coming up. And so maybe he's like, you know, you guys aren't taking this serious right now. We're not talking about this. And you know what? Tell them I want to trade. Let's put that nugget into their head. Have fun focusing on the draft. I'm not going to worry about it right now. Could just be that also. Could just be that the stress level on this is high. He's not getting what he wants out of the conversation, and he's just frustrated. And he wants to show San Francisco, hey, I'm serious about this. Like, I'm not coming off at this point. You want me to be a wide back? I'll be a wide back. You better pay me more than anyone else. Any non-quarterback in the league, you better pay me more than them. You want wide back Deebo Samuel? That's what I need. You want wide receiver Deebo Samuel? 25 million is the number. It could be that simple. I don't want to put that, in the mouth of Deebo Samuel, but it feels like that could be where we're at right now. Is Deebo trying to strong arm the Niners, which tells you the Niners offer if one was disrespectful? Mark, I don't think that's the case. I don't think the offer was disrespectful. I think they probably came to him with like an 18 million or 18.5 million per year base salary that could escalate up to like 22 probably million at the start. And he was like, no way. And then it got up to about 25 million. I think the thing Deebo is frustrated with is the guaranteed money in the contract. The guaranteed money in the contract more so than the actual numbers or what was presented to him himself. If he is going to be a wide back, he wants a certain number guaranteed. And the Niners may not want to put that money down. And so they're trying to get him to come off that number, and I don't know if he wants to. I don't know if that's the thing he's trying to do. I'm seeing AJ Jenkins still hurts me from Fork Tail Devil and Tommy saying fork. I know, right? Good old AJ Jenkins. Freddie Fennell saying trade him to the Jets for the 4th pick. You need a lot more than just the 4th pick, man. I need a lot more than the 4th pick. Red Eye. Good to see you, sir. Niners hold all the cards. Deebo holds nothing. Niners cannot use Deebo. Let him rot for a year and then release him as a restricted free agent. Well, they do hold all the cards. You're also not going to release him as a restricted free agent. You're just going to let someone else sign him and then take the compensatory first-round pick that comes back in return. Oh, just stressful. Stressful for everybody. Stressful for the Niners. Stressful for the TCC. Stressful for me, for Ant, for Andrew Pasquini, and for Brian Carter, who, if you didn't know, are going to be on 49ers War Room tonight. You're not going to want to miss that 49ers War Room with Andrew Pasquini and Brian Carter, 2 49ers content creators. And I might as well just give you the sneak peek of it now. 7 p.m. Pacific time tonight. Let's take a look.
The San Francisco 49ers select
Boom. 49ers War Room. 7 p.m. Pacific time tonight. 2 incredible 49ers content creators making their appearance on the channel for the very first time. And now all of this as well. This is going to affect and impact what goes on tonight, I imagine. I imagine there's going to be a run on wide receivers. There's going to be a run on wide receivers. Alex, would you trade into the Jets for 4 and 10 only? David, HE double hockey sticks, no. No. My personal opinion on this is I need 4, I need 10, I need a future first, and I'll take a 3rd. I want 3 1s and a 3. That's what I want. 3 1s and a 3. And listen, 49ers fans, anyone who's sitting there right now and going, that's not realistic. You know what? You're right. But the Niners wanted a first for Jimmy Garoppolo and didn't trade him. You really think they're going to trade Deebo Samuel for less than 3 1s and a 3? You really think so? I don't. No part of me believes the Niners are moving off of Deebo unless it's 3 1s and a 3. 3 1s and a 3. They ain't going to do it. They will not do it. Red Eye, Deebo wanted to be a wide back. He said he wanted to be known as a wide back. Now he says he doesn't like the way the Niners use him and not the money. WTF. That's because he wants to be a wide back. No, Red Eye, here's the thing, right? Deebo's not lying. Deebo wants to be a wide back. It's not that Deebo doesn't like the fact that he was used in that way. It's the fact that he was used in that way, and then you're not going to pay him more than anyone else in the league because there's no one else who can do it. That's the problem. Deebo knows if he's going to be continued being used in that role, that specific way, that it can't be replicated. No one else can do it. You can't draft that guy. You can't go out and sign that guy in the league right now. He doesn't exist. Want me to be a wide back, Kyle and John? Fine. You better make it worth my while, because you can't replicate it. And he's not wrong in that regard. He's not. He's not wrong. This is why Ant and I have not been upset about this whole situation. I'm not even upset now with Deebo. Deebo wants more than anyone else to do this. I mean, okay. Like, you kind of can't argue with the logic. You can bring up other metrics, right? There's the drop rate that people talk about. There's the route running not being as crisp and as clean. That's all great, but what he lacks in certain areas as a wide receiver, he's made up for with everything else. His run after the catch ability, his ability to catch or to run the ball in the backfield, his ability to take screens 80, 90 yards to the house. I mean, big play after big play. It's hard. That is a great question, and it was. It's 100% a great question from David Campbell. I can't do it. I need three ones and a 3. 4 and 10, that ain't doing it. That ain't doing it. Can I do a lot with 4 and 10? Absolutely. I can get myself an elite edge rusher. I can get myself Trent McDuffie at the cornerback spot and like corner room now. After that, edge rush. After that, it's glorious if you do that, right? Glorious. Except you have a huge gaping hole at wide receiver. And how your offense functions and operates. Blame his agent, Torrey Sanders. He's giving the same strategy to all his clients. Remove social media, threaten trade, etc. AJ Brown has the same post regarding the same stuff, same agent. Look, it looks like they have a playbook, right? His agent has a playbook. I'm not going to blame his agent. I'm not going to blame his agent for him wanting his athlete, right? His investment, the guy that he is representing. Like, he wants him to get the most money possible. He should want that. The agent's doing his job. You can not like the way he's doing his job, but at the end of the day, he's doing his job. Right? And that's not Deebo's fault. It's not Deebo's fault that his agent is doing his job. Not the Niners' fault that the agent's doing his job, and it's not the agent's fault that he's doing his job. He's doing his job. All this shows is that these things aren't always clean. They're not always pretty. They're not always nice. They're rough. They're difficult. They're uncomfortable. And they're infuriating if you're a fan. Right? Infuriating. This is what I think too athletes like kind of lose sight on. Like, this is something that athletes and just people in general who are stars or A-listers or celebrities, they lose sight on. Normal people have a very hard time wrapping their head around someone being upset over $5 million. Because a regular person who's not making 6 figures, a regular person who isn't in the top 1% of earners in the world, looks at $1 million and that's life-changing money to them. Shoot, $500K for most people would be life-changing money for them. They feel like they could accomplish a lot with $500,000. So seeing an athlete bicker and argue with a franchise over $5 million, they do one of two things, right? They either look at the player and go, dude, it's $5 million, or they look at the team and be like, you greedy sacks of crap, it's $5 million. You make more than that in 5 seconds, right? They're going to feel one way or the other about it because it's a lot of money. And for most people, you look at 5 million and you go, I mean, you could give me not even half of that. You can give me 5% of that and I would be good. I'd be good. If you give me 50% of $1 million, I'd be fine. It's hard. It's hard for people to wrap their head around that. And then that makes them feel one way or the other because they feel like someone's either being greedy or selfish, one of the two. And the reality is for a lot of these guys, like, yeah, it's $5 million, but it's not just life-changing money, it's generational changing. It's generational wealth, right? It changes the life of not only them, but their family, their mothers, their grandparents, if they're still living, their brothers, their sisters, their kids, their kids' kids, their kids' kids' kids, their kids' kids' uncles' kids' kids. Like, we're talking about, people never having to worry about where money's coming from again and being able to be the best version of themselves, hopefully, throughout the rest of their lives. Especially if the parents do right by everyone in terms of how they invest and use their money. I get it. I understand it. It's just hard for a lot of people to wrap their head around because they look at it and go like, what's the difference here? What's the difference between 25 and 30 million besides 5 million? You're set for the rest of your life. Why are you complaining? Because it's not just them, right? They're worried about everybody. They're worried about their boys that they came up with. They want to help change their lives. They're worried about their kids being able to change their lives. Their kids being able to change their life. They're doing this so that their kids don't ever have to go through what they went through growing up. In some cases, that's what's going on. Frustrating. I don't like AJ Brown either. Him and a first for Deebo, said 420. I don't know. We don't have to blame the agent, but it does help us put Deebo love for the 49ers and what he's saying right now into perspective. Possibly. Sean, they're doing business. Most fans should know negotiation tactics by now. Some people aren't privy to that, though, Sean. They don't pay attention to that. They just pay attention to who was on the team and who signed on the dotted lines. Right? It's true. Jimbo Gorillo, both sides like money. Who would have guessed? I know. It's mind-blowing, Jimbo. Mind-blowing. Most people give money, too. They just spend it. Thus, all the broke ex-NFL players. There's a lot of broke just athletes in general. There's a lot of guys who have not done right with all the money that they've made or have been taken advantage of. Right? Iverson came out and talked about this as well. He thought he was dirt broke at one point towards the end of his career because he didn't have a lot of money left, and that's because the guys he came up with were taking advantage of his kindness. And luckily for him, one of his guys, took a huge chunk of his money and put it into a retirement account that couldn't be touched until he turned, I think it was like 50 or something, 40 or something like that. And he found out, like, hey, you have all this money, just been sitting here investing and accumulating, you're set for the rest of your life, like, you're good. And he was like, well, who the heck did it? And it ended up being one of his boys that he came up with that saw what was going on and took some of his money and put it away for him. Like, this is something that athletes deal with. This is something that athletes deal with. And so you're trying to make sure that you can make as much as humanly possible as early as you can, because you just don't know what's going to happen. You really don't. And for a lot of guys, you're young when this happens. This is life-changing money at an age where you're not necessarily the most responsible. I remember being in my mid-20s and not being the most responsible with money and things of that nature. Right? Deebo doesn't feel like me when I was his age. Like, Deebo feels like he's a lot smarter. But he's also going to be a lot more stubborn about what he wants. I don't blame him for that. He should be. He's an extremely talented athlete who's done something that I haven't personally witnessed in the NFL, what he's done up until he did it. Deebo's going to get paid. Let's just hope it's San Francisco, huh, TCC? Let's hope it's the 49ers, baby, because if it's the Niners, I'm feeling good, and if it's not the 49ers, this is going to be a rough offseason. That's for sure. It's going to really put a damper on the draft party April 29th at Back Alley Brew in Galt, California, which if you are in the Northern California area, you should come to. Back Alley Brew, Galt, California, April 29th, 4 to 8 p.m. Draft party, lumpia tacos, free entry. This beautiful mug, Ant as well. Jay Hill will be there. Horst will be there as well. Warren as well, who, if you stick around, if you're a channel member, tonight or patron member tonight for Aftermath, you're going to get introduced to 49ers content creator Warren, who's going to be at the draft party as well with us. So that'll be a lot of fun. If you want to hang out with us after Aftermath tonight at 7 p.m., all you have to do is hit that join button down there right now, or head over to our Patreon. Link is in the description down below. Join there. As little as $5 a month. You support this channel. You get early access to content. Matter of fact, our patron and channel members just got 3 videos this morning. Tres videos this morning. And they're going to be getting more videos this week. Early access to content that's coming next week. So they've already seen those videos. Don't spoil it, channel members. Don't do it. You can do it. It's fine. Everyone will find out when the time comes. But if they do trade him, what do you expect in return? I'm asking for 2 number 1s. I don't care, says Traffic. 3 1s and a 3. Traffic. 3 1s and a 3. Super spreader event, says Tommy. Super spreader of faithfulness? Absolutely. Spreading the faithful in the TCC all over the Northern California Valley, excuse me. So there's that. Raul Santos saying Deebo is an average receiver who has led the leagues in yards after the catch, or at least been top 3 every year that he's been in the league. And healthy. Yep, average. You hit the nail on the head with that one, man. Average. Highest average yards after the catch. You left out a little bit there. That's fine. I got you. I got you covered, bro. First 2 2s and a future first. Thank you for a good season, Deebo. LOL, JK, pay them, man. A first 2 2s and a future first. Nah, man. It's 3 1s and a 3 for me. I get a first, a future first, and 2 2s. Like, that sounds great and everything. But, yeah, no. I don't want that. Hey, the party will be fun. Just getting to see the people. We see names and comments. With you, you can't let sports rule your life. No, it's gonna be a lot of fun, Paul. I agree. The draft party is gonna be a blast. We're gonna really enjoy it there. Sean saying delusional stand. Who? Sean? Me? Well, I guess it's a good thing that we have a new shirt coming out of the Cutback shop soon, and I can rep Sean and I guess prove you right. It was funny. We get those kind of comments all the time. We get the stand comments. We get the homer comments. Yeah, that's not insulting. I'm a 49er stan. I love the 49ers. I'm a homer. This isn't news. This shouldn't shock anybody. It also doesn't hurt either. I love my team. I'm always gonna love my team. Even when they make dumb mistakes, I'm gonna love my football team. It's the reality. I'm a glutton for a punishment sometimes with this team. That is for sure. He had one good season as a wide back, says Raul Santos. That's one more. Hey, Raul, you were right, but it's one more than every other wide receiver in the league. There you go. Does it lower his value at all, though, teams knowing he asked for a trade now? No, it doesn't. It doesn't lower his value. Because the Niners don't have to move off him. He's a restricted free agent next year. They don't have to. Sean saying, not you, homie. Okay, well, that makes me feel better, Sean. But anyone that is a 49ers stan, you're going to want to keep an eye out for 49erscutbackshop.com. There's going to be new merch dropping soon. You don't want to miss the new merch at 49erscutbackshop.com. It's a great merch. It's the best merch. You don't want to miss it. You don't want to miss it. You can try working out a bunch. I can at least look forward to their chemistry with or without Deebo. Fair. It's going to be an interesting situation. How this thing plays out, what goes on from here. Do the Niners make a trade before draft day? Because if they don't trade him by draft day, he ain't getting traded. Folks, if he's not traded before then, it's just not happening. So we're going to see what's going to happen. Look, TCC, I'm going to wrap this thing up right now. I'm seeing here from Raul, I'll take this one last question. So that means pay him $25 to $27 million a year? 25, yes. The reports are they already offered him 4 years, $100 million. And I have said this, and I'll continue to say this. $25 million a year for Deebo Samuel sounds about like the number he should be making. Sounds like the number, especially if he's a wide back. Sounds like the number he should make. It's a solid number. I like it. We'll see if the Niners like it, though. But TCC, I'm going to wrap this thing up. We'll catch you tonight, 7 p.m. Pacific time, 49ers War Room with Andrew Pasquini and Brian Carter, 2 49ers content creators making their debut on this channel for War Room. You're not going to want to miss it. It's going to be a blast. And I imagine there's going to be a run on wide receivers now because of everything that's happened. We'll catch you for that tonight. And until then, stay safe and remember the right way is always the 49ers way.
The San Francisco 49ers select